Young and Restless early spoilers January 19th to 23rd. Phyllis mocks the Newmans ruthlessly. Billy joins the savage takedown. As we always do on early edition day, we start with what's coming the rest of this week, and then dive into what's ahead next week. Young and the Restless spoilers. Noah on edge. On Wednesday, January 14th, we've got Sharon Newman, Sharon Case, checking in with Noah Newman, Lucas Adams, asking how Sienna Bacall, Tamara Braun, is sleeping. She's exhausted and Noah can't sleep. He's so upset that Matt almost killed Sienna and that Nick Newman, Joshua Morrow, got hurt. Sharon tries to calm Noah down, but he says he can't until he knows that Matt is behind bars or dead. Tessa Porter files for divorce from Mariah Copeland as mental health crisis escalates on YandR. Tessa Porter, Kate Fairbanks, shows up to check on Nick and Sienna, and Sharon is surprised to find out Tessa knows Sienna from a tour years back. Noah leaves to check on his lady, while Tessa catches Sharon up on Mariah Copeland, Cameron Grimes, bailing on her and Aria Porter Copeland. Mariah left the mental hospital without telling anybody and refused to take their calls on Christmas. Tessa says Mariah's just not getting any better, and she tells Sharon that Mariah doesn't seem to need any of them. Tessa says she only knows any of this because of the family tracking app and tells Sharon she's filing for a divorce. It's over. She can't keep living like this. Sharon thinks something is behind Mariah's behavior. She wants Tessa to give Mariah more time, but Tessa refuses. She says she can't keep telling Aria Porter Copeland that Mama Mariah is coming home when it's not true. Tessa says it's not fair to her and not fair to Aria. Then she and Sharon hug it out while they are crying. Victor Newman faces total collapse as Phyllis and Kane hack Newman Enterprises. Nick gets a visit from Adam Newman, Mark Grossman, while he's in the hospital. Nick says he feels crappy and the doctors have upped his pain meds. He starts asking about Matt Clark, Roger Howarth, and Adam says that Jack Abbott, Peter Bergman, and Kyle Abbott, Michael Mueller, have the guy. They wanted to trade Matt for the AI, but Victor Newman, Eric Braden, didn't make the deal. Nick assumes Matt's in jail, but Adam says, nope. Adam mentions that the AI has turned on them and the family company is being gutted. They think Kane Ashby, Billy Flynn, and Phyllis did it, and Victor has gone to confront them. Nick is frustrated to be bedridden and out of the action. Adam tells him Jack threatened to let Matt go if they didn't hand over the AI. Adam's just hoping Jack will keep Matt locked up because Victor can't hand over the AI. He lost control of it. Nick is very upset about Matt not being in jail and insists that Adam helps him get out of the hospital. Like a good little brother, he does. Meanwhile, Victor confronts Kane and Phyllis about the AI attack. Victor wants to know if Phyllis hacked in or if she had a back door. She just laughs and says Newman Enterprises is theirs and he cannot stop her or Kane. Nikki Newman blames Victor's vendetta against Jabot for family ruin on YandR. Victor ignores Phyllis and her taunting and asks Kane what he wants to stop this. Victor offers him Arabesque, the company that he gutted with this same AI. But Kane says Victor has nothing to offer them. He ruined everything Kane and Colin Atkinson, Tristan Rogers, worked for and then dragged his family name through the mud in public. Victor decides insulting Kane and Colin is the way to go. Then Kane offers to sell Victor Arabesque for a cheap price because it's not worth much now. Victor promises payback on them both, but Phyllis says he's already lost. Victor vows that Summer Newman, Allison Lanier, will despise Phyllis for this, and he storms out on Young and the Restless. Victoria Newman, Amelia Heinley, tells Nikki Newman, Melody Thomas Scott, that not only is the AI destroying things, but somebody at Newman leaked info to the press, which is making things worse. Nikki says this is all Victor's fault. She begged him to destroy the AI, but he wanted to keep it and use it on Jabot. Victoria seems certain that Victor can make Kane stop, but Nikki doesn't think so because Kane's holding all the cards. Claire Grace Newman discovers Victor's lies regarding the dangerous AI attack on Young and the Restless. Claire Grace Newman, Haley Aaron, shows up and asks what's happening. They tell her about the AI attack and mention that Nick's doing all right. Claire hears that this AI is tearing Newman apart and asks, "Oh, you mean the AI that Victor lied to my face and said he didn't have?" Victoria tries to soften that, but she finally has to admit Victor was going to use it against Jack. Claire is not going to like that at all. They think Phyllis has turned this AI around on them. Victor shows up and says Phyllis and Kane definitely did it and won't make a deal. Assets are disappearing to parts unknown. He tells Nikki and Victoria they may have to start selling off what's left of Newman to save anything. Nikki is horrified and blames Victor because of his vendetta against Jack. She calls his judgment into question. Victor rages at her and blames Damien, Kane, and Phyllis. Nikki claps back, reminding him she told him to destroy the AI, and none of this would be happening if he had listened. Victor then changes channels and starts ranting about Nikki and Jack. Billy Abbott plots revenge and eyes Chancellor assets. Victoria gets between them just as Nick and Adam come in. Nick is on crutches and looking pretty bad. Adam says his brother refused to stay in the hospital. Nick says he thinks he can stop this and will go talk to Phyllis. He believes she'll listen to him. Meanwhile, Kane and Phyllis are having a drink and talking about having no regrets regarding destroying Newman. On Thursday, January 15th, Nick keeps a secret from Sharon, likely regarding his growing pain issues. Sally Spectra, Courtney Hope, pushes Billy and makes him come clean to her. She knows from eavesdropping on him and Jack that Billy still wants revenge and payback on Victor. Plus, Billy has a meeting with Kane this week. Billy still wants Chancellor and sees an opportunity to get it in this mess. Phyllis has to defend her actions, probably to Nick, who thinks he can talk her out of what they're doing. I guarantee he cannot dissuade Phyllis. He's going to try and threaten her with Summer like Victor did. But Phyllis may remind Nick that Victor was using the AI on C. Kane and Matt, and plan to do the same to Jack. Phyllis is going to say, "Look, your dad is the bad guy here, not me." The Young and the Restless spoilers. Newman's scramble as empires clash. On Friday, January 16th, Noah hears shocking info about Matt. It may be that Victor let the guy go because he wanted to keep leverage for revenge. Plus, Diane Jenkins, Susan Walters, tries to get info about Victor out of Michael Baldwin, Christian Jules LeBlanc. Diane wants all the tea on the Newman drama. Nick goes to Jack for help. I'm sure Nick wants Matt either 6 feet under or locked up. He may also ask Jack to help reason with Phyllis. During the week of January 19th through the 23rd, Sally starts to see that everybody was right about Billy all along. It's one thing after another, and she has a major decision to make soon that may mean trouble for her and Billy's relationship. Victor is under fire from his family and is getting angrier. He's not going to admit he screwed up and will continue to blame Kane. Is about to erupt in pure chaos during the week of January 19th to 23rd, and at the center of the storm is none other than Phyllis Summers, unleashed and unapologetic. This time, she's not just poking the Newman bear, she's tearing it apart piece by piece. And shockingly, Billy Abbott isn't just watching from the sidelines. He's grabbing the mic and joining the savage takedown. What begins as whispered mockery quickly escalates into a public humiliation campaign that leaves the Newmans stunned, furious, and dangerously off balance. Phyllis goes for the jugular. Phyllis has never been subtle, but this week she's downright ruthless. After uncovering yet another example of Newman hypocrisy, she decides she's done playing nice or quiet. Sources tease that Phyllis starts openly mocking the Newman family's so-called legacy, calling it nothing more than a carefully polished illusion hiding rot underneath. In classic Phyllis fashion, she doesn't just insult, she performs. At Crimson Lights, at Society, and even within earshot of Newman Enterprises executives, Phyllis delivers biting commentary dripping with sarcasm. She ridicules Victor's obsession with control, mocks Victoria's leadership insecurities, and doesn't spare Nick either, hinting that he's forever trapped between rebellion and loyalty, incapable of truly choosing his own path. But the most shocking part? She's not wrong. And everyone knows it. Billy Abbott picks a side, and it's not Victor's. If the Newmans expected Billy Abbott to stay neutral, they seriously underestimated how much resentment he's been burying. When Phyllis draws Billy into her orbit, it doesn't take long for sparks to fly, and not the romantic kind. Billy has his own long list of Newman grievances, and when Phyllis starts verbalizing them out loud, it's like opening the floodgates. Early spoilers say Billy begins backing Phyllis publicly, reinforcing her points with brutal honesty that stings far worse because it comes from someone who knows the corporate battlefield inside and out. During a tense encounter, Billy reportedly calls Newman Enterprises a family business built on fear, not loyalty, a line that sends shockwaves through the room and straight to Victor. This isn't reckless Billy acting out. This is calculated, controlled, and deeply personal. Victor Newman sees red. Victor Newman does not tolerate disrespect, especially not from Phyllis Summers and certainly not from Billy Abbott. As the mockery spreads and whispers turn into open conversations, Victor realizes something far more dangerous than insults is happening. His authority is being questioned. Early spoilers reveal Victor begins quietly plotting retaliation, determined to crush this rebellion before it infects others. He orders Michael Baldwin to dig, searching for anything, legal, financial, or personal, that can be used to shut Phyllis and Billy down for good. But there's a problem. The more Victor pushes, the more the truth threatens to surface. Victoria feels the heat. While Victor prepares for war, Victoria Newman feels the pressure building from all sides. Phyllis's mocking commentary about her leadership hits a nerve, especially as murmurs of instability ripple through Newman Enterprises. Insiders tease that Victoria begins second-guessing key decisions, worried that Phyllis and Billy's words are planting seeds of doubt among board members. Worse, she fears that her father's heavy-handed tactics could backfire spectacularly. Victoria is forced into an impossible position: defend Victor at all costs or protect the company from his escalating vendetta. And for the first time in a long while, she's not sure those two goals align. Nick caught in the crossfire. Nick Newman is stuck in the middle, and it's tearing him apart. Phyllis's sharp remarks cut deep, not just because of their history, but because Nick recognizes the painful truth behind them. Spoilers hint at an emotional confrontation between Nick and Phyllis, where she challenges him directly. Is he ever going to stop cleaning up his family's messes, or is he content being Victor's safety net forever? Nick doesn't have an answer, and his silence speaks volumes. This moment could mark a turning point for Nick, forcing him to reevaluate his loyalty to the Newman Empire and his complicated bond with Phyllis. The savage takedown goes public. By midweek, what started as verbal sparring becomes impossible to contain. A high-profile business event turns explosive when Phyllis and Billy openly challenge the Newmans in front of allies and rivals alike. The tension is electric. Phyllis delivers a blistering speech that exposes double standards, broken promises, and the cost of the Newman obsession with power. Billy backs her up with facts, figures, and first-hand experience, leaving the room stunned into silence. The message is clear: the Newmans are no longer untouchable. And Genoa City is watching. Fallout is inevitable. By week's end, alliances are shaken, reputations are bruised, and the lines of battle are firmly drawn. Victor is more dangerous than ever. Phyllis is riding the high of her boldest move yet, and Billy has officially declared war on the Newman legacy. But the biggest question remains: will this takedown expose the truth, or unleash consequences no one can control? One thing is certain: after January 19th to 23rd, Genoa City will never look at the Newmans the same way again. And Phyllis Summers? Noah Newman has always been the quiet storm of the Newman family, introspective, artistic, and far less ruthless than his powerful relatives. But in upcoming Young and the Restless spoilers, that calm exterior is about to crack. Noah is officially on edge, and the reason isn't just family pressure, it's fear. Fear that a secret he's been desperately trying to bury is about to surface, and when it does, it could cost him everything. For weeks, fans have noticed subtle changes in Noah's behavior. He's distracted, short-tempered, and visibly shaken whenever certain topics come up. While others chalk it up to Newman drama fatigue, the truth is far darker. Noah isn't just stressed, he's panicking. A secret that refuses to stay buried. Sources tease that Noah has been hiding something significant, something tied to his time away from Genoa City. While he's told his family that he needed space to find himself, the reality is far more complicated. During his absence, Noah crossed a line, one that could have legal, emotional, and reputational consequences if exposed. The danger now? Someone else knows. This mystery figure has been lurking on the edges of Noah's life, dropping subtle hints and cryptic comments that send him spiraling. Every time his phone buzzes, Noah jumps. Every unexpected knock at the door sends his heart racing. He knows it's only a matter of time before the truth comes out. And once it does, there's no controlling the fallout. Sharon senses trouble. As always, Sharon Newman is the first to sense that something is wrong with her son. A mother's intuition never fails, and Sharon can tell Noah is carrying a heavy burden. His evasive answers and sudden mood swings raise red flags, and Sharon begins pressing for answers. But Noah shuts her out. Instead of opening up, he grows defensive, insisting that everything is fine. That response only heightens Sharon's concern. She worries Noah may be repeating past mistakes, or worse, heading toward a breakdown. Sharon even considers reaching out to Nick or Victor, but she hesitates, knowing how quickly Newman help can turn destructive. A romance on the brink. Noah's personal life isn't faring any better. His romantic relationship, already fragile, is starting to unravel under the weight of his secrets. His partner senses the distance, the lack of trust, and the emotional walls Noah keeps throwing up. Romantic moments are interrupted by Noah's anxiety. Conversations turn tense. When asked simple questions about his past, Noah changes the subject or lashes out. Eventually, his partner begins to wonder if Noah is hiding more than just bad memories. Spoilers hint at a devastating confrontation ahead. One where Noah is forced to either confess everything or lose the person he loves. And knowing Noah's fear of disappointing others, the choice won't be easy. Victor Newman enters the picture. Of course, no Newman crisis stays private for long, especially when Victor Newman gets wind of it. Once Victor notices Noah's erratic behavior, he starts digging. And when Victor digs, secrets don't stay buried. Victor suspects that Noah's instability could be a liability to the family name. Whether it's a criminal matter, a scandal, or a betrayal, Victor wants control of the situation before it explodes publicly. His solution? Handle it the Newman way. That terrifies Noah more than anything. The idea of Victor stepping in, fixing things with threats, payoffs, or manipulation makes Noah feel trapped. He doesn't want his grandfather cleaning up his mess, especially if it means destroying someone else in the process. This internal conflict pushes Noah closer to the edge, leaving him emotionally exhausted and dangerously impulsive. A risky decision looms. With pressure coming from all sides, Noah considers a drastic move, leaving Genoa City again. He convinces himself that disappearing will protect everyone, his family, his partner, and even himself. But running away won't erase the past, and deep down Noah knows it. Spoilers suggest that just as Noah prepares to make his escape, the truth starts to surface anyway. A surprise encounter, an accidental confession, or an unexpected witness could expose the secret at the worst possible moment. And when that happens, there will be no controlling the narrative. The fallout could change Noah forever. What makes this storyline especially compelling is how deeply personal it is. Noah isn't scheming for power or revenge. He's struggling with guilt, fear, and the weight of expectations that come with being a Newman. His emotional unraveling feels raw and real, setting the stage for powerful performances and heartbreaking scenes. Will Noah finally come clean and face the consequences head-on? Or will his fear drive him to make a choice he can't undo? One thing is certain. Once Noah's secret is revealed, his relationships will never be the same. Trust will be broken. Loyalties will be tested. And the Newman family will once again be forced to confront the damage their legacy leaves behind. As Young and the Restless spoilers tease, Noah's nerves are fraying, the clock is ticking, and the storm he's been trying to outrun is closing in fast. When it hits, it won't just shake Noah. It will rock Genoa City. The veneer of Genoa City's brightest couple has cracked, and what once seemed unshakable is now unraveling before the eyes of loyal Young and the Restless viewers. Tessa Porter, singer, daughter, heroine to countless fans, has taken the unthinkable step of filing for divorce from Mariah Copeland, citing an escalating mental health crisis that's pushed her to the edge. It didn't happen overnight, but all the signs were there. The missed rehearsals, the nights out alone, the haunting lyrics Tessa scribbled in her ever-present notebook. Now, with court papers filed and the news rippling through the Abbott Mansion, society, and GC buzz, Genoa City is whispering the three words that no one ever imagined hearing. Tessa and Mariah over. Storm clouds over true love. From the moment Tessa and Mariah promised each other forever, their love was heralded as one of the Young and the Restless' most uplifting romances. A bright star in a constellation of backstabbing, betrayal, and secrets. Their wedding was a media spectacle. Their friendship with friends like Nate and Audra was the stuff of modern soap opera legend. And yet, beneath the harmonies and affectionate banter, darker chords began to play. Tessa has always been fiercely independent, a creative spirit shaped by loss, early adversity, and a yearning to find her voice in a world that tried to silence it. But after her latest tour, something in her changed. At first, it was subtle. A canceled studio session here. A cryptic social media post there. Then came the breakdown. The breakdown, when music isn't enough. The first time Mariah knew something was seriously wrong wasn't when Tessa stopped singing. It was when Tessa stopped smiling. Late one night at the Abbott pool house, Tessa sat in tight coils on the couch, clutching a half-finished lyric like a lifeline. "I don't recognize my own voice anymore," she whispered, eyes glazed with a vulnerability Mariah had never seen. Mariah, ever the empathic soul, tried to soothe her. "You're tired," Mariah said gently. "You need rest. You gave so much to the world." But what Tessa heard wasn't concern, it was dismissal. "I'm tired of being tired," Tessa shot back. Her voice cracked, and behind it was something deeper, fear. Real fear. That night was the first of many where Mariah watched her wife fall into silent spirals, wrestling with shadows Mariah didn't fully understand. Unseen battles. What no one knew. Tessa's struggle wasn't just fatigue. It was a fracture in her sense of self. Songwriting used to be her salvation. Now it felt like a trap. Every melody reminded her of expectations she could no longer meet. Every audience smile felt like an audience waiting for her to crumble. But she didn't tell Mariah that. Instead, Tessa began retreating. Phone calls went unanswered. Studio sessions were skipped. And when Tessa did show up, her eyes held a haunted desperation that no amount of words could explain. Nate Abbott tried to intervene once, seeing his friend in pain. But Tessa brushed him off with a joke so sharp it stung. "You know me," she said. "I thrive on chaos." But audacity and humor couldn't mask the panic beneath. Turning point, a night of truth. The catalyst came on a rainy Tuesday when Mariah came home early from work, only to find Tessa scribbling on the walls of their shared home. Lyrics, phrases, fragments of thoughts, all scrawled in Tessa's own handwriting, but with a frantic energy that spoke of something greater than creative inspiration, a mind unraveling. Mariah gently approached. "Tess, what are you doing?" Tessa didn't look up. "I'm finding my way out," she said, voice brittle. "I need to see it everywhere." Mariah's heart broke in real time. "Tess, talk to me," she whispered. And Tessa did, finally. The words came out in one jagged breath. The suffocating pressure of performance, the fear of disappointing everyone she'd ever sung for, the creeping sense that her talent was turning into her downfall. But in that moment, instead of relief, Tessa felt trapped. The silence that followed was heavy, ominous, and definitive. The divorce papers, a heartbreaking decision. It was 2 days later when Tessa filed the divorce papers. No big announcement. No social media post. Just a set of legal forms delivered with quiet finality to Mariah's door. Mariah didn't yell. She didn't cry at first. She just stared. The grounds were listed simply. Irreconcilable differences exacerbated by a significant mental health crisis. Those words, clinical and cold, carried the weight of Tessa's emotional storm, and the brokenness of a marriage that once stood as a beacon of hope. Mariah's friends circled around her, devastated but supportive. Audra brought flowers. Nate offered a sympathetic shoulder. Even Devin, ever the voice of reason, reminded Mariah that love doesn't always mean holding on. But Mariah felt hollow. And in that emptiness lay the cruelest truth. Love wasn't always enough to conquer inner demons. Aftermath, Genoa City reacts. Word spread through Genoa City like wildfire. Talk show hosts debated it. Fans took sides online. News flashes on GC Buzz carried the headline. Beloved couple splits, but why? Some speculated about infidelity. Others blamed the pressures of fame. But behind every whisper was a deeper question. What happens when the mind becomes the enemy? For Mariah, the answer was painfully clear. You fight, but sometimes you lose the battle you never saw coming. Mariah's response, a message without Tessa. In a heartfelt video posted later that evening, Mariah spoke directly to fans. Tears glistening, voice steady but raw. "I loved her," she said. "I still do. And I always will. But love doesn't heal every wound. Sometimes it means knowing when someone needs space to save themselves." She didn't blame Tessa. But she didn't hide her ache either. "And to anyone struggling," Mariah continued, "you matter. Your pain matters. And getting help isn't weakness, it's courage." Her words resonated. Genoa City softened. Conversations about mental health, long neglected on daytime television, began to unfold in living rooms around the nation. Tessa's silence and what's next? As of now, Tessa Porter has not spoken publicly. Her social channels remain unupdated, and those close to her say she's focusing on therapy, rest, and rediscovering her creative spark without the glare of public expectation. Some fear the worst. Others hope for a renaissance, a rebirth of the artist who once captured hearts with her soul-bearing lyrics. What's clear is this: Tessa's journey is far from over. And in Genoa City, where love and tragedy intertwine like musical notes, her story will continue to unfold with heartbreak, hope, and the unshakable belief that even shattered voices
Victor
can
Newman
find
has
new
survived
harmony. Kidnappings, corporate coups, family betrayals, and even death itself, or something close enough to it. But nothing could have prepared him for the quiet, devastating storm now tearing through Newman Enterprises from the inside. This time, the enemy isn't a rival conglomerate or a shadowy billionaire. It's Phyllis Summers and Kane Ashby, and their attack is surgical, personal, and ruthless. The warning signs were subtle at first. a delayed financial report, a misrouted wire transfer. A confidential acquisition leaked to the press minutes before Victor could announce it himself. Victor brushed it off, convinced it was simple incompetence. But when Newman's stock plunged 5 points in a single afternoon and multiple overseas accounts froze without explanation, the truth became impossible to ignore. Newman Enterprises was under attack. And not from the outside. Behind the scenes, Phyllis Summers sat in a dimly lit hotel suite, laptop screens glowing around her like a digital war room. Her signature red hair was pulled back, her eyes sharp with focus and something far more dangerous, vindication. Across from her, Kane Ashby monitored encrypted data streams, his jaw tight, his fingers flying over the keyboard with practiced ease. This wasn't a smash-and-grab operation. This was a slow burn. Phyllis didn't want Victor embarrassed. She wanted him dismantled. Every move was deliberate. They rerouted funds just long enough to trigger compliance alarms, then quietly returned them before anyone could pinpoint the breach. They altered internal projections, so Victor's board would question his judgment. They planted false indicators suggesting Victor himself authorized risky trades. And the beauty of it? It all looked legitimate. Victor stormed into the Newman boardroom like a man possessed, slamming his fist on the polished table. Nicky flinched. Victoria stiffened. Nick watched his father with growing concern. "Someone is playing games with my company," Victor growled. "And I want names." Victoria had already reviewed the data 3 times. "Dad, it doesn't look like an external hack. Whoever did this had executive-level access." Victor's eyes narrowed. "That's impossible." But the room was silent. Because everyone knew it wasn't. As Victor dug deeper, the walls began to close in. Longtime investors started pulling back, citing instability in leadership. A pending merger collapsed when confidential documents mysteriously leaked, costing Newman Enterprises billions. Even worse, an internal audit flagged Victor's own digital signature on transactions he swore he never approved. For the first time in decades, Victor Newman was losing control of his empire. And the narrative. Meanwhile, Phyllis reveled in the chaos, but Kane was haunted by it. "This wasn't supposed to go this far," Kane muttered one night, staring at a screen filled with cascading red numbers. Phyllis scoffed. "Don't get cold feet now. Victor Newman has destroyed lives without blinking. This is accountability. But if this traces back to us..." "It won't," Phyllis snapped. "Because Victor never looks in the right direction when he thinks he's invincible." But Kane wasn't so sure anymore. Victor began suspecting everyone. He turned on his own children, interrogating Victoria about system access, grilling Nick over back-channel communications. He even accused Adam of orchestrating a hostile takeover behind his back. The family fractures widened. Nicky pleaded with Victor to step back, to let an independent firm investigate. But Victor refused. Admitting vulnerability was worse than defeat. He ordered a secret counter-hack, pulling in mercenaries from his darkest corporate days. Too little. Too late. Phyllis anticipated every move. When Victor's team attempted to trace the breach, they hit a digital labyrinth. False trails leading to shell companies in Singapore, Zurich, and Sao Paulo. Kane had designed it brilliantly, masking their fingerprints behind layers of plausible deniability. And then came the final blow. On a Monday morning, Victor woke to headlines he never imagined reading. Negligence or sabotage. Newman CEO under federal review. A federal inquiry had been triggered by irregularities tied directly to Victor's credentials. Trading halted. Accounts frozen. The board convened an emergency session, without Victor present. He watched the news in silence, fury and disbelief battling in his chest. "They've taken everything," he whispered. Back at the hotel suite, Phyllis stared at the same headline, but her expression wasn't triumph. It was shock. "I didn't plan for federal involvement," she said quietly. Kane exhaled. "This is bigger than revenge now." And that's when the knock came. 3 sharp raps at the door. Phyllis's blood ran cold. On the other side stood not the authorities, but Adam Newman. His gaze flicked between them, a slow smile spreading across his face. "Well," Adam said softly, "looks like someone finally beat my father at his own game." Victor Newman, cornered and furious, wasn't finished, not by a long shot. But for the first time in his legendary reign, the king had been dethroned. And the empire he built with iron fists and scorched earth was crumbling, not from brute force, but from 2 enemies who knew his greatest weakness. His belief that no one could ever take him down. The war was far from over.